Everybody get up, it's time to slam now.
Come on and slam, and welcome to the jam. Come on and slam, if you wanna jam.
Poetry is a myriad of things. A structured arrangement, sometimes tethered for entertainment, while making use of extraordinary language, posing as prose to conjure public engagement. It's amazing how spontaneous feelings can be so direct that drinking a cup of tea can leave others feeling unnerved, perturbed by the breaking of silence that allows mute voices to be heard, tingling with excitement of the senses each time a poet declares a mention of physiological response to astronomical questions. I beckon that poetry be the deed, a document of writing marginal sparks of creativity, notions expressing emotions delivered in doses scripted with dignity. I pity thee, fools that are ruled by the school of groupthink, illusions of liberty exposed by cases of spilled ink, sealed with signatures, signed, sealed, and delivered, while bound in rhythmic expressions packaged in figurative storytelling. I say poetry be that best kept secret. Grapevine so juicy it will leave a gossip speechless. I be this recipe of vivid imagery, mixing imagination with a steady pour of reality. Poetry be like Woman King, shielding the heart of a warrior wrapped in the wrath of femininity, a weapon of mass destruction gunning down the hatred of its enemies, emptying full clips every time the muzzle spits, while piercing through flesh and bone, prone to shots fired without a trigger warning, equipped with semi-automatic aggression. I say poetry be a blessing, a companion to lessons learned through faith and fury, juried by man's testament. A woman scorned with devil's horns who raises hell on earth every time she births pathways of hot coals, urging phoenix's rise from a withered flower to a concrete rose. I suppose that poetry is a lot like healing, using old wounds as a muse, a ruse of patriotic feelings, a cathartic way to manage pain. I say that poetry be a gateway, a sidekick along the journey to manifesting better days. Harmonic melodies strummed along strings, attached to acoustic revelry, lyrically in tune with chords, sang with deep gratitude. We move amidst air-bending complexions, articulating our affections, a lesson, a tone's keynotes, excited by the stroke of midnight music meant to evoke vivid impressions of the sensual sounds of love lessons, fingertips tracing the frets, catching the midnight pull, a serenade of rapture where the rhythm resets and the heavy heart grows full. We bleed into the bass line, a permanent design, echoing through the architecture of your hand and mine. The final bridge arrives, slowing down the tempo, where the cadence subdues unto a soft crescendo. Your whisper entangles me into thoughts too wild to say aloud. Instead, I take note of them carefully, scribing silently, selfishly exercising tension between the margins, replenishing our appetites until we're no longer starving, for intense grips that comprehend the work of our penmanship as we laze in our copious clandestine relationship. We do not blend like watercolors on wet paper. We fight for our edges. We press against each other until the friction burns, a necessary heat, a deliberate bruising of egos to find where the soul begins. Yet, there's a terrifying symmetry here. In the loudest storms of our disagreement, our heartbeats find the exact same rhythm. We are the heavy, desperate pull of the tide, tearing at the shoreline, only to return to the same quiet depths. We bleed into the music of our own chaos. The struggle is our anchor. The passion is the sail. We tear the canvas just to sew it back together with gold thread, stronger at the broken seams, louder in our silent understanding. We are a sudden, sharp intake of breath, a collision of flint and steel in the dark, where the spark is both a promise and a threat.
I have been challenged, fettered to gain and loss, triumphs and disasters. I have learned that that which is bitter to endure may be sweet to remember, and adversity which burns like the pungent rinds of lemons to the eyes may ultimately taste like juicy mangoes. Until my lover came, I was drifting aimlessly through life, trapped on the barbed wires of pain and ignorance. My many afflictions, false perceptions, and innuendos pushed me to the edge of a chasm almost impossible to evade. The aroma of a Colombian cafe Arabica sin leche was vibrant in my being as my Spanish princess and I tugged tightly beneath the sheets where we encountered. Amidst the sweet-scented redolence of lavender oils ascending to her bedroom chandeliers, my melanin skin awoke, waltzing to my transformative breath, sweat pouring from the peak of our passionate encounters. My delicate fingers ran down the covertures of our yesterdays, our zealous and fervent todays, and the visionary dreams of our tomorrows. My emotions soared to the zenith of an ecstatic sweetness, leaving my blood pumping a scarlet red, warmer and faster than previous delights. Alas, sunrise vanishes when night arrives. Maria Teresa soon found greener pastures and disappeared from my life. No more a paradigm of the heart's beauty, only a dearth of loyalty, a paragon of perfidy and disrespect. No more papayas to bite into, only the green taste of tamarind. Now the dark cloud of anguish binds me, I feel only the bitterness of sorrow. My smile hides blades of torment, and I drift aimlessly as in a daze. The moon seems partially covered by an eclipse, and its light wanes while hope is scattered in the wind. I lie in what was once a meadow of love, but now the flowers weep in my despondency, and the stones cry. I choke helplessly on the very air I need. I have gone deaf to the melody of nightingales, and even the harps of angels lament my sodden soul. The crimson mist of burning wounds stagnates my flow of vibrancy. My faith canals are covered in red. Today is another day of loneliness, and I die 1,000 deaths.
I was raised like a spoiler alert. Everybody around me knowing something catastrophic was coming before I did. Mama looked at me like Professor X staring at cerebro smoke, half pride, half this girl gone level cities with her feelings. And I swear she was right. I've been apocalypse coded since adolescence, a walking retcon, a soft-spoken extinction event, the kind of woman that Marvel writes when they want trauma to wear lipstick. See, my mind, I don't think. It multiverses. Every memory got alternate endings. Every heartbreak becomes cannon fire somewhere. Every I love you turns into a crossover episode somewhere between devotion and self-destruction. See, that's Phoenix math. You call it overthinking. I'll call it telepathy without health insurance. Because loving me is like downloading Cerebro on dial-up bandwidth. Too much signal and not enough mortal hardware. I hear everything. The pause before abandonment. Thoughts loud enough to make to split continents, every memory of every person I ever loved screaming through me at once like comic panels stretched too thin. And that's why I love defensive, like Magneto holding metal together, with grief alone, like a woman turning her rib cage into an Animanium panic room. You think my attitude toxic? Nah, that's just that Dark Phoenix saga, told from the villain's perspective. History always calls women unstable when they stop dying quietly. And ain't that some nerd shit? How they feared Jean Grey, not because she lost control, but because she finally realized that control was a collar. I felt that shit in my spirit. Because people only adore powerful women when the power behaves domesticated. Telekinesis, but make it feminine. Godhood, but keep it cute. Burn the whole universe down, sure, just do it apologetically. Meanwhile, I'm over here turning heartbreak into cosmic radiation. I got abandonment issues mutating in my bloodstream like centennials programmed by ex-lovers. Every man who tried to handle me ended up looking like collateral damage in a Stan Lee cameo. Rest in peace to them civilians. Because I don't crash out. I origin stories. There's a difference. I don't lose my mind. My mind simply exists in Earth 616 and returns wearing fire like a fur coat. I make eye contact like boss battle moves, the final form. Like, are you sure you selected nightmare difficulty? And yes, somehow I still want tenderness. Still want someone to hold my hand without trying to depower me. Somebody who understands that the phoenix is a resurrection bird, not just a warning label. That my rage is sacred geometry. That my sadness got infinity stones in it. That every version of me that died still echoes through timelines like mutant genes refusing extinction. See, most people meet my body, but very few survive my lore. So I come back again and again and again. Like sequels nobody asked for, but everybody secretly needed. That's the thing about women like me. We don't heal normal. We respond cinematic. Flames licking the edges of our names, mouth full of prophecy and smoke. So if I seem too intense, too knowing, too much, remember this. Jean Grey wasn't cursed because she burned everything down. She burned everything down because nobody taught her how to hold the universe without setting herself on fire first.
Your words give my mind harpies the purchase they've been waiting for. Landing amongst the details of your concerns, they sneer and taunt and bare their bloody bosoms. Do you ever have a day where you don't want to be awake, but staying in bed means more nightmares? Do you ever get up to find depression waiting in the hallway in all her splendor? Do you ever feel like you're trapped in a glass box and you can't touch anything? Everything is separated from you by a cool, lifeless pain. Do you ever get to the point where you haven't eaten because that would require making a decision, and that's too much to ask right now? Do you ever believe that everyone is upset and disappointed in you? You've used up the last of your friends' goodwill and support, and now you truly are alone. Do you ever sense that your messages aren't getting through, your words wasted, sent into the empty? Do you ever feel sad, and the only reason is that your mood has decided to fuck with you today? Do you ever want to scream? Do you ever need to cry? Do you ever have one of those days? The mind harpies dance and frenzy, waggling their tails, pointing to something pure, to be spoiled and defiled, a place to descend, to perch, to tear the flesh of memory. I'm going to put my heart right here on this table where you can see it, feel it, put your fingers in the holes in it. Why not cut it right down the middle? I'll hold the knife, though my hands might shake a little. We can tear it apart together. I'll help. But act now, because I'm gone tomorrow, and I'm taking what's left of this heart when I go. Sometimes they whisper, and sometimes they get up right in my face. Their spit burns, and their breath smells like shame. Tearing tissue with razor talons, they claw at the arteries that feed the part of me where hope still lives. Monitoring swarm size, measuring wing shapes, noting markings. Are there fractals in their feathers? I'm analyzing the waveforms of their screeches, looking for consistencies, hoping for patterns, trying to make some sense of their calls. I'm learning to navigate through the tangle of talons, trying to remember that the cuts are only ever skin deep, that I will heal eventually, that even when the sun is blotted out by beating wings, it's still there.
My name is Blitz. I grew up in Fort Worth, Texas. 817, that's my home. Growing up, I was an avid gamer. Matter of fact, one of my favorite games, NFL Blitz, hence to my name, but I'll never babysit or play Blitz again for what should be a welfare check can easily turn into a homicide when white cops decide to play black ops with black lives as if we don't matter. That's why we don't call the cops, because white cops are easily triggered to pull the trigger, making it the Call of Duty, becoming a first-person shooter. Atiana Jefferson was playing video games with her nephew when shots were fired. That's why I don't play games late at night. What would you do if you saw flashlights on the side of your house in the middle of the night? Defend the home. Who's that peeking through my window? Pow! Cops now. Citing Massey was killed for a pot of hot water. I guess it was a deadly weapon. That's why I can no longer step into my kitchen and boil eggs or pasta. I mean, I won't even eat ice cream in my living room anymore since Botham Jean was killed for it. As much as I love my girlfriend, I'm scared to stay at night because of no-knock warrants. Breonna Taylor was killed for being at home while her boyfriend was arrested for defending the home and firing a shot. I even struggle with taking a jog around my neighborhood after Ahmaud Arbery was murdered for it, as if it's okay to record a flawless fatality. Rodney King taught me everything I needed to know regarding getting pulled over, that even if we comply, brutality might be advised. Getting behind the wheel is like playing Grand Theft Auto, because just like in the game, police don't arrest you, they waste you in different ways. I digress. I was once a gamer, but it looks like being black in America. We are the game that's always being hunted.
Coyoacán, en el 1925 para Frida. No one knows the breaking as I know the breaking of glass. It is the shards which get you. You know, not so much the steel rods or the splintered wood. Those do horrible things to human tissue. But the shards, they have a way to get into the insides, in veins, in capillaries, under toenails, the mucous membranes, the eyelids might be the worst thing they do. And doctors can't see them. The nurses come, I say, ayúdame. No puedo ver la luz de la ciudad ni la de la vida. Me dicen, there is nothing in there, Frida. There is no more glass in your eye. There is nothing in there, querida. Life begins tomorrow, people like to say, because they will have children, and they are not deceased. And they have no shards of glass in their eyes, nor the steel rod implanted like a crude IUD in my uterus.
I came in this poetry game independent, with no clique, no party affiliation. I didn't care to be part of the bipartisan, and that bothered the decision makers. They played favorites, and somehow I made it out. I was the glitch in the matrix with my unique delivery and cadence really had the crowds and audiences' participation since they couldn't control my wave. They wanted to tarnish my name and have my character assassinated. A few attempts, but the people who know me know the truth, so there's no debate. They all unified to create rules and regulations. I overcame the obstacles they put in my way. My empowered voice vetoed their power of legislation, hid their backroom ballots in public places, displacing their polls for votes and nominations. They said they wanted to dictate who gets the praise or annihilated. They said I was difficult to work with. For features, I would demand higher wages. I wasn't corrupted. Y'all were just mad I disrupted the formula. I was never factored into the equations until my words and stages made it to where I was the topic of conversation. All of a sudden, you had a lot to say disguising it as advice to give Isaac, and I wasn't having it. Well, they told me be less complex, just tone it down a little bit, make it easier to digest. To me, it didn't make any sense. They were just jealous, although they had the bigger name than me, were more eyeballs than me. I was getting the bigger ovation. They're so-called cheering me on with their golf claps, but I could see their question marks in their palms. I saw your true colors from the entrance. I didn't need your so-called guidance. I was fine being Isaac. I saw the divide between them and I accordingly drew the line in the sand. I had no desire being an insider. I was fine being an outlier. I mean, an outsider like Scott Hall or Razor Ramon. My patience was Razor's S then, but somehow I made it out to be the bad guy in the story, and that's fine. I'm not going to compromise my morals or ethics for a feature. I will not stand beside people who let foul shit slide just for a certain look at a platform, showcasing the good girls and good boys mentality as disguised as networking. I know what some of y'all did behind the scenes to get where you're at, but let's leave that between you and me. To my supporters, thank you so much. Y'all didn't just give me game, y'all gave me self, a wealth of knowledge. I have to acknowledge this journey. I wouldn't be here without your help. When I first started, y'all poured into my well, but well, look at us now. Y'all taught me big platforms and a following should not breed arrogance. Be kind, give back. Y'all took a chance on me, and I am indebted. I know I'll pay y'all back. I mean, pay it forward. It was about having a good heart and being a good person. The talent just a cherry on top of it. Y'all showed me balance. How every time I would weigh out my bars like a scale, right?
Passionate, raw, and enticing. 'Cause yeah, Billy, that's just how I like it. If you feed me every part of you and satisfy my appetite, feed me as you fill me through the night, and Dee the Librarianne, send my body into climax with your articulation as we go deep into conversation. 'Cause see, Dre, I want to lose myself in your reasoning as I make love to your intellectual being. And Lantern Carrier, let me wrap my legs around your dialect as I straddle your mind until your thoughts slow grind with mine. Elisabeth, can I seep deep into your cranium so you can enjoy a new way of getting brain from her? And Erica, let me whisper the dead languages of love in your ear as we explore ancestry and you play with the roots of my hair. Nemo Sum, can we establish a new form of foreplay? 'Cause see, Isaac, you can make me your sample and try me in every way. Challenge my words, question my wisdom. Teach me until it all makes sense. 'Cause see, soul stuff, I love someone that can put on their thinking cap and stroke my intelligence. And don't be afraid to lead me into curiosity, because the only thing it ever killed, respectfully, meow, was the cat. See, I want someone that can mind fuck me, because I'm like a book. If you lay me down on my spine, lick your fingers and take your time to flip through the pages of my imagination to entice a new sensation of loving you. Help me explore the true definitions of what's between the lines as we study the true anatomy of what's between my thighs. 'Cause see, your ideas, they leave me questioning, Dre, just how big is it? For the advancement of your skill set, you see, it keeps me interested, and I want to masturbate to your logic again and again. Can I straddle your mind until I'm confined to the empty spaces that even you, boo, refuse to acknowledge, while I take hostage your grand mental escape? UCIE. Quake this mission to landing on the moon when you consume every fiber of my being that I intrude, and I'm just wishing to know what you were thinking. You see, it would sort of piss me off if you chose sex over celibacy, but just assume that it's my jealousy. 'Cause see, I'd rather have your mind, baby, than your head. But as we lay here in bed and I listen to the breaths that escape the sweet caverns of your lips as you kiss me softly with vocabulary so I could hear just how clearly you crave me. That's such a sweet sentiment from a sapiosexual. But I love someone that can fornicate my mental with intellectual, and you eat out my riddles and digest philosophy. See, you'll be having me shaking and feeling close to God. See, we get bare naked in truth when exposing the absolute equations and the reasons why. I sigh. You see, I am gagging on your brilliance because you present such increments of human creativity that I am swallowing your mystery as you stroke me close and slow and lead me to capacity with the knowledge of you. But tell me the truth. You'd love to fuck me right now because with these words, I encourage this insanity. And see, it's ridiculous how meticulous you are with my mental. And as we lay here gasping sinful in sections of ecstasy, I hold on, gripping fingertips around your brain as you dig deeper in my pain. And I give you my vulnerability. You see, I let you feel me. Speaking the languages that I forgot to know, yet to know I can never dispute a connection from confessing the truth to you. Spoke theories bigger than any bang when articulating art using slang. And we decoded a new way out of conduct. But Slam Jam, it was just pure luck that we all just fucked through that entire conversation.
24 flowers, a bouquet inked on my soul, her heart's aroma. 24 flowers, a bouquet inked on my soul, her heart's aroma. Let your silhouette embrace me. Come close, touch my heart, soft lips, sweet ecstasy. You're the ambience and decor of 1,000 thrills. You are my home, the meadow of wine in which I dwell. My visionary murmurings soar towards the allure of your charisma and elegance. I sailed confidently to that junction where our love is a fire of ecstatic delight and moonlit affinity. The rhythm of my today's pulse dances, my tomorrow's reveal fertile meadows, harvested to joy, woven from the challenges of yesterday's sorrows, the sad traumas of past remorse. Now love bathes my mind, heart, and soul, each longing surrendering to your sunlit smile, your mellifluous gaze gleaming with reticence and charm, causing my knees and limbs to throb with ecstasy. Sweet Shyama, balloons may be of various colors, giving a unique boon to its soul, yet they all contain the same expansive breath of air. Not so with you, my queen, for you glow in your diversity, excel and blend in the pulse of every breath. Beloved, people say that the greatest gift I will ever have is another day of life. But my poetry says, of what use is another dawn in chains and mental struggles without the light of your lustrous beauty? My heart and lips have savored the sweetness, while the glow of my soul sings your praises. I can see the vista of the lush green plains where we once strolled together, holding hands like a modern-day Adam and Eve, steeped endlessly in an enduring love. We strolled amidst the magic of verdant trees and foliage, watched the daisies and rhododendrons unfurl to your unhurried majesty and poise, their radiant beauty, a signature of love's munificence to us, to Gaia, to creation. To write about you, to extol your virtues, renders me helpless. You are the light of my today and tomorrow's, my eternal journey. My keyboard does its best, and Microsoft facilitates our tryst. Yet, how can the night explain to anyone what it is like to be kissed by brilliance? No, I do not wait for anyone to bring me flowers, for I plant the roots of roses to decorate our soul. I'm in a calm and serene state, filled with the heart's hunger, ready to catch pearls where the mind cannot reach, and the currency of our embrace can only live forever. Whenever you leave, my love, I follow your sweet scent like a dog trailing its master. Yet you only feign departure, neither am I a dog wagging its tail with delight, only a hungry lover seeking the bosom of its beloved. You are my infinity's ink, timeless and immortal, blotting a peerless manuscript on my soul. Da Vinci's Mona may fade away, for she lies in time, while you, my adorable empress, most magnificent one, holds me effortlessly in a timeless orb of excellence, leaving me bemused and intoxicated by the aroma of thy love.
Chicago, from all corners of the metropolis, across highway and river, From every neighborhood and district, a call for and by creatives answered. Craft person, composer, and chorus, the city's bards and bands, beatboxers, and hand clappers banded together for a standing room audience called Rush Hour, a demonstration for the movement of Black lives, the solidarity of brown lives and the marginalized. With Civic Center aglow, with free enterprise and commuterism, we descended into the concrete and steel tubes. Time-tested acoustics carried tunes and chants. Peak time on a literal underground railroad became, this train is bound for glory, became, don't you know talking about a revolution sounds like, became, we gonna be all right, became rolling classroom with vocabulary lists of disproportionate, privilege, prejudice, reform became humanities class for those hidden under headphones, became statistics class for those claiming unaffected, became a study hall reminding the masses of the long arc of justice. The train, outbound to less diverse places, more reflective of America, stayed grudgingly silent, even as we caught Biff Buzzcut reading numbers off of placards. The train outbound south was going into the village, awakening the tribe, calling on their presence for next time or next time to create presence. The meetup in the middle was drum and chant and promise to return until spirit moved us to move on. Other cities moved in solidarity. Oakland, New York, other movements copied the blueprint. When community concern and arts activists say they're taking the train, we're taking the goddamn train. With postmodern gospel, with you call protest. Even when walked out of the subway, we continued a joyful noise of justice over peace. No faking the funk for politics. We spilled onto State and Madison streets like rain, baptizing the loop as we did the trains in rhythm and blues and poetry about prison pipelines from private companies and public schools, about 16 shots and cover-ups, about Rakia and Laquan, about shaking loose law enforcement chokehold on the streets, about getting free in the big wind, lyric and melody and cadence that walked the district attorney out of a job and put the mayor on notice. As we dispersed into the night, I descend back into the underground to the red line for home's embrace. No tear gas, no sudden need for lawyers or medics or emergency contacts. I put on headphones to hear the new D'Angelo, Black Messiah singing, all we wanted was a chance to talk. Instead, we only got outlined in chalk. I loaded up for one more quick demonstration with a fat tip Sharpie from my backpack before a demand of freedom onto the back of a seat. I thought deeply about those who battled for rights before me, faced fire hose, batons, crazed dogs, and morality. How much of hope we still have, how much we still stand up to the system, the illusion. Feet have bled, a million miles we've walked, revealing at the end of the day, the charade. 79th Street is next. Doors open on the left.
The windsock in the corner whips back and forth when I wake. It's broken glass when I breathe in. Didn't finish my dinner last night, threw half away, then woke up hungry. Dreams of departures and planes falling from the sky linger. The storm clouds roll backwards in the violence of the morning, which keeps us hunkered down in our bunkers. Living in the shadows, eyes become weak, light becomes pain, bodies break down. Trapped in our safe places, listening to the notes hanging in the air, their story of woe written for us so many years ago. You write about roadkill and missing me. I am self-obsessed. My words flow from the wounds within. I find the bottom of this glass and the answer is missing, but I'll keep looking there. Bipolar, they say. Like that's supposed to mean something more than more pills to take with food twice daily. What happens when I turn on the miracle? If I bite the healing hand the day it's all too goddamn much? So many fucking variables to track. The day they come asking what makes it better or worse. What can these words do for me? For you? Will hearing my howling help anything? If I document, is it testimony? If I cry, is it truth? On a scale of 1 to 5, evaluate the following statements. I feel hopeless. My friends and family know I failed. Depression is calling me back to bed. Despair is so close, I can smell her. Everything is my fault. Expect gusts of wind up to 30 miles per hour, moisture levels below 20%, and general fuckery that's hard to measure. Reporting from within the storm, your favorite nobody, Nemo Sum.
The multiverse theory posits that our universe, our existence, is just one of many. That in his infinite power and wisdom, God has created not only us and our world, but multiple versions of both. Some call this a flight of fancy. I call it a coping mechanism. Believing that somehow, somewhere, there's a me out there that doesn't feel so fractured, doesn't walk with the weight of so many what ifs. A me that still has a you. Scrolling through past pictures of us, I imagine a world preserved prehistoric. I, the single-celled prokaryotic organism, see you from across the ooze. And after 1 billion or 2 years of thinking it over, finally muster up the courage to ask if you'd be interested in entering a symbiotic relationship. Though I don't yet have a heart, nor know what one is, hearing your yes makes my nucleoid region beat twice as fast. While stuck in traffic, I reroute to a world that is less metal dense, more paved with roads of promise and exploration, a land of kings and queens and knights and realms, and you, not a princess but a paladin, partner in arms, someone to steel myself against all the dragons of doubt and despair, confident that our bond was worth more than all the gold in the world. While staring at the blinking microwave timer reheating leftover ambitions, I flash to a world that is all tech, bright and sheen. One in the far-off future where you and I upgraded our relationship to a matrimonial level, where we felt comfortable asking each other for support instead of trying to troubleshoot on our own. Error, system crash. Try, I love you, becomes claustrophobic. Your partner is not responding. A world where our love became a prism of light instead of a black mirror, but most nights, I dream of a world that looks a lot like this one, except it fits inside an airport. One where I am perpetually stuck in standby, eyes scanning the central display for some sign of someone who needs me. You, baggage tucked away neatly, are sure-footed toward the terminal outbound for whoever you are going to be, and somewhere between the traveled far and the travelators, our eyes meet. And in that moment, our shared glance spills experience, has a dialogue that could last decades, can feel everything from every world, heart building and breaking 1,000 times over, until our sight breaks and we fade amongst the faceless din. You know, every time I dream of one of these realities, I wish I could stay in one of them, any of them, just a little bit longer. Because even in the ones where you and I are not a we, at least I get to see you again.
I feel like it's time to get loud and mad and sue someone. Strongly ingrained in me to not seek conflict, wince from insults, agree with terminations of employment, accept deflect. Weak trees die from ash-boring beetles, from their roots not whispering quickly enough to one another to defy a foreign invader, to prevent the white nose. Frogs die from fungus, bats die from fungus. There are none of either left where I live, and there used to be so many. Loss except. I might have used to know how to fight back against my syndromes, but my lack of timing, fear of forced entry, no one is afraid of me. If my hands were cut at wrists for pity, if I leapt over the gorge for a rock halo, braver girl knows how to hurt others. Better to sever the spine than to foster the sitting so upright, forgetting of the whispering to the roots. Nearby me gather round the ones who loved me. I am sick, I whisper into their ears with mouse breath. Sisters lay down their swords. It will all end and be over soon. Decline accept, lie accept. I'm quiet in the riverside brush. I will go to the ground so silent. Death accept. I like watching you try hard to make me happy, and then I like to make you watch me implode in slow motion. I want to mimic that horror in the same way, deranged accept. And it's all been turned inward, berating myself, 3 a.m. to 5 a.m., and all the estrogen and progesterone in the world can't hold me back from biting my attacker. Deflect, deflect. And the fear of being buried alive is so real. I have taken first steps and handed over the hammer and shovel. Suffocate, accept. I will soon know one. It's not in my nature. To fight back clearly isn't either. And so, to my despot, Elisabeth Horan, you fucking selfish, damaged cunt, I apologize as you watch me succumb. Succumb.
Again, I was lost. Somewhere deep in the tunnels where light had no home. A labyrinth absent of color, damp with yesterday's dew, and a cold yet heavy air, dank from centuries of stillness. The walls were forged in brick and ash, stained with the dry blood of sacrifice, and a veil of webs settled thick in dust. The floors were wet with faded reflections that each step left rippling, and I could feel my hairs rise with terrored chills in this ancient ruin built and buried beneath the city that once felt the warmth of the sun, the cool of the night, and explored stars that flickered like candles in a dark vast. I continued to venture deeper and deeper in through this network of hallways. My hands abrade the walls while fingers graze the hieroglyphs, reading the universal secrets engraved by our ancestors. I could clearly visualize the imagery of every ounce of pain, the horrors of war, and the torture leading to the unnecessary slaughter of too many souls for greed's valor. I felt the energy of every nightmare and broken heart, a crushing weight that wanted me to succumb and forfeit my soul to its will. The feeling of terror struck me like a match, igniting this anxiety, insisting I turn around. But my curiosity was eager to explore this dark, strange place. It felt like an unfamiliar dream without a compass or a lighthouse to guide me home, wandering alone, wading through the still water beneath my feet. The hiss of my ringing ears combined with the void of silence became the perfect recipe for madness. The imagination has a way of filling the emptiness of sound with the magic of chaos under such conditions. I had no choice but to continue forward, utilizing my hands and feet as my guide. With each step, Darkness seeped into my pores, and the fusty maw of this corridor continued to whisper on my nerves, poisoning my thoughts as my mind slowly began decaying, slipping into a fever of delirium. The walls began pressing inward as the floor narrowed into a familiar edge that I now balanced my life on, tap dancing across insanity while searching for an egress of escape. The tunnels began to shrink, slowly growing with each step and outgrowing the maze I couldn't escape. The hallucinations grew stronger as the past strangled my chance of survival. Resounding sounds echoed in multiple faded voices, mumbling words of madness as I slipped between dimensions, kaleidoscoped and spinning, slipping from the edge I once danced upon, grasping for a single hope. It felt as if I had been a prisoner here for decades. I saw the devil in flames and Jesus walking across the lake, filled by the rain of a cloud that Buddha was meditating on. And Gaia stood a lone statue, head swiveling, revealing the faces of every goddess that wove her whole. And I realized we were all made from one source. I crawled across the edge slowly and carefully. There I met a goddess, alien-like, wearing a golden dress and speaking a different language. Yet I understood every word as she told me about the balance within, that we were all things combined, both dark and light, a yin-yang of emotions, a perfect circle of life. She moved to the side, revealing a door just small enough to crawl into. I entered only knowing it was my way out, only to emerge into an unfamiliar forest, gratefully setting foot on mother's soil and freed from the maze of my own imagination.
A wise woman said, playing with broken crowns on broken men tends to lead you being of similar nature. I guess society rewards bad behavior. Think about it. The hoes and the players get all the expensive party favors while the good people get not even a token of appreciation. Somehow we get passed over. The ones who treat us how we should be treated and chase the ones who don't maintain a good relationship. That's depreciation. Speaking of broken homes, I was from a broken home. How can I expect to be a king if the man that raised me destroyed everything? He wasn't the archetype, didn't have the capacity to build right. Wrong blueprint. So as a child, I had to be the architect. All from the ground up, ground zero. This is where I started from. You gotta be kidding me. The weapon of mass destruction was his lack of responsibility. I ran from all the accountability. I guess the grenade isn't far from the war zone. I mean, the apple isn't far from the tree, leaving me with wounds, having me to trauma bond with other casualties. I'm so tired. I'm so tired. Soul ties, entanglement. I couldn't communicate. I was tongue tied. Well, this wall of excuses for me of toxicity was running so dry. It wasn't a desert storm with no clue. I was wearing these lies like an outfit, but it wasn't fabulous. I was using women like pawns, pretending I was a knight, knowing I was horsing around. Wait for it. Taking L's left and right. Wait for it. No 4 steps. Think about it. 3 boxes. But don't second guess yourself or count yourself out. I can touch it, but I couldn't grab it. He made this home a kingdom, but this crown, he couldn't have it. Some queens won both crowns. I guess she was in her masculine. I don't know. It's circumstances, but it could be the kind of man she was choosing, though. Since her dad left her home, too. Her mom raised her, so she only knew what she only knew. And she only knew what a queen meant. Not knowing a man with the right morals and values also deserved royal treatment. She was used to leading so much that men would just leave when he couldn't lead. Both parties parted ways from the relationship in agreement.
My name is Andres Reyes, and I am an addict. I'm addicted to the feeling of pen on paper, juicy words that the page will savor. You see, creating poetry that influences radical behavior, and when it's a passion, it's never a labor. So let's take artistic expression straight, no chaser, and scream the eternal cries resting within Mother Nature. May all our poems be star-destined prayers that become future lifesavers to the ones who may be our future engravers. I'm addicted to the community, the feeling of unrivaled unity, achieving spiritual immunity, not feeling like a minority, along with the wonderful souls and personalities where every day is a ceremony of a celebration of our humanity. I'm addicted to the energy of comfortably showing vulnerability, relaying hurt into healing creatively, and from minds to throat to technology and a frequency for the world around me, with the hope that maybe my words can create and provide validity in someone else's reality. I'm addicted to poetry. You feel me? I'm addicted. Oh my goodness. My system refuses to make antibodies for the creative bug that embodies all of me. I'm addicted to poetry, and the ability it gives me to be a little wild, a little crazy, pushing language to its boundaries just to see what it could be for shits and giggles and scientific theory. I'm addicted to poetry and the spiritual liberty it brings to me. I'm a word junkie whose only fix is poetry. Again, my name is Andres Reyes, and I am an addict. But there is no high in the world that compares to spoken word. Mankind has struggled to answer one simple question: where do we go when we die? A man of science will have you believe that we become one with the earth, nothing more. And a man of faith will view things with a much different perspective. But what about those like you and I? We're special. For us, there is no death. We live forever through our art. This is sanctuary, the stage, this microphone, this fleeting finite moment in time. Here we will manifest all the power we will ever need to thrive in this dark world, to make passage towards our own salvation. Today, we stand together as conquerors, as revolutionaries, as beings of 1,000 truths, as survivors who have slumbered in flames and laughed in the face of fear. We have found our way through the darkness and into the light with nothing but limitless might. We are the color red in this world of black and white. Society has placed labels on us, for it's only human nature to put labels on things you do not understand. Labels, insults, numbers, ways to objectify the unknown, the unfamiliar, and the unwanted. We have been labeled many things: unconventional, strange, misunderstood, outsider. Understand this though, friends. Labels are nothing more than penniless words if you do not surrender any strength to them, for we, for one, will never surrender. Now, I urge all of you to drink in this moment, man. Drink it in like hot coffee and wake up. Wake up and look at this lie you're living in, man. Everything you think you knew about your own lives is based upon lies. All you wake up every morning, look at yourselves in the mirror, and coat yourselves with your beautiful faces with makeup because you don't even realize you're just wearing the mask that society demands you to wear. It's a bottomless pit of lies. These false prophets plaster your hopes and dreams on a billboard. However, the days of the false prophets are over. I promise you today, I promise you tomorrow, I promise you up until my final breath, with the swords of our tongues, we will slay this mighty dragon, and we will stand over his body, and we will whisper into his ear, it is time to end this lie. When you die, come find us. We'll never be too hard to find. Just look up to the sky and follow Buzzards.
Catastrophic bewilderment, diffusing the state of the atmosphere, disperses gaseous mediums as weightless molecules disappear. Residual silence replaces the roar, a vacuum where poisons once grew. The calamity leaves a cold trace, a hollow and chemical space, where numbness is all that feels true. Yet heavy air clears to reveal a sterile, unfiltered expanse. As raw lungs begin to heal, allow for a hopeful new dance. They say beauty lives in the eyes of the beholder, but when purpose collides with a mind growing bolder, the spark strikes, an ignition of delight, transforming casual talk into an electric night. Every sensory nerve now firing in millivolts, frequencies pulsing, striking like lightning bolts, charging the intellect into a refined currency, alchemizing raw emotion with an elegant urgency. He speaks, politely dictating instructions that suffuse the soul, commanding bodies of words that make fractured concepts whole. A master of notions, honoring time and its sacred design, painting vivid pilgrimages, line by brilliant line. He finds absolute resolution in the debris of the image, stepping onto the stage, fully armed for the scrimmage. Imprinted bluntly, yet humbling the proud, his truth rests securely, echoing loud. Watch him, armed with ethereal rounds, fired in rapid succession, spitting holy flames to cure a generation's depression. A tactical movement designed to conquer this modern hunger game, burning the muzzle off cheap sensory thrills, putting lesser art to shame. He strips away the armor of sensible nobilities to reveal the raw, naked pitch of his sovereign abilities. Studying the cadence of his voice raised in harmony, I whispered to the cosmos, I envy thee. Yes, I envy the blind, the ones unable to see, the weight of the crown he wears so effortlessly. A modern knight in shining armor, guarding the gates of poetic revelry. I am a chatty Cathy. Yes, that's true. A colorful personality with a smile that lights up the room. When I tell a story, it's all over the place because somehow my mind seems to trace roads that lead back to somewhere when this one time in my imagination or a real life experience. I always seem to find the correlation between that time I slept at a cousin's house and we used household objects to sing our mini concerts, inspired by videos we watched on the box, which is Channel 10, when I'm supposed to be channeling the answer to the question about my favorite song. And somehow an explanation grows into a garden of beautifully planted seeds, intertwining into grapevines of stories embedded deep into my memories. I'm an eclectic eccentric, so I take a little something from almost everything, and my interests have ranged like pistons, firing this engine rapidly because something you said sparked a thought that I was able to plug into this conversation somehow. And even in this moment, I don't quite know where I'm going, but I'm here for the journey. So I'm going to just keep on talking about everything under the sun. Like what I read in the middle of the night when the ADHD kept knocking this nocturnal being into a sea overflowing with vivid imagery, swimming through my mind like smoke clouds of Mary Jane, having her cake and allowing me to eat it. Then jamming to the tunes of various instrumentals, so tough that when someone invades the space, I channel the spirit of MJ, wishing they'd just leave me alone with my thoughts that run amok about philosophy, psychology, science, and social constructs, or how a certain cartoon reminds me of some strange part of my personality. The way I love to chug back a glass of wine or whiskey, slap some bones on the table, play cards and board games. I'm good with words and playing spades. An ace in the hole when my intelligence rolls tides with the deep ends, diving into the spaces in which my wackiness lives in. I'm a woman with various interests, feeding my frenzy just to maintain my sanity.